when the family feels.
Nussmeier will throw quickly, and that's Kyron Lacy, first play of. That's on a little half roll. He'll fire again, and Lacy, I think he got a foot. Lacy in motion. Nussmeier looking that way. Now on the wheel, throws it up. Lacy caught it. Did he get it?
Hey, come on, back line. Fuck all that. Back on me. Backs. Come on, man. Don't let it down, man. Yeah. Wide receiver type shit. I'm going back line. I ain't done this, bitch. What's up, BT, baby? What's up, BT, baby? Hey, what's up? Come on, man. Hey. Come on, man. That's fucking game. What's up, Dante, bitch? Come on, man. It's game. That's fucking. What up? Pop. Pop. Come on, man. Pop. Let's start. OBT.
I'll never forget my life, man. That was just amazing, man. That's what you come to LSU for, man. For all those younger recruits, man, this is what you come to LSU for. Big games like this, you're going to get an opportunity to play at the highest level, play against some great teams. Come on, man. It's nothing better than this. For all my young receivers, wide receiver type shit.
We have got to the point where literally anybody can build a fully working app without knowing how to code. This is Base 44.
So 5 catches, 111 yards in the game-winning touchdown. He balled out.
Breaking news before we go. We just learned that former LSU wide receiver Kyron Lacy has died.
Fam, it's hard going over some of these stories. More than often, you find yourself putting yourself in these shoes of the victims. Because truth be told, they could be me or you. Knowing we living in an imperfect world, sometimes we can only bank on justice. But just like anything else in life, nothing is perfect, including our Justice Department and our enforcement on laws. Now, there's been some breaking news within the last 72 hours of a star football player who recently took his life earlier this year. But it wasn't for nothing. You're talking about a man who was judged by the public before he even had a jury. A young man that worked his whole life towards one craft and put himself in position to possibly be drafted. And after knowing you didn't do nothing, but get everything stripped away from you publicly and behind closed doors, all for lie, some might say that's enough to do the unthinkable. Now today we go over the facts that a lawyer who was representing this young star football player, who we'll briefly discuss once again, has still managed to keep his word by defending this young man even though he's no longer living on this earth. Not only for his name, but his reputation, and for possibly others who could be put in this situation. So since this information has been presented to the public, let's just say the Family TV wanted to do as much as possible to bring this to you guys' attention in chronological order while presenting the facts. And that's what I plan on doing here today. So without wasting too much time on this intro, I want you guys to remember, I don't give you no angle. I just give you the story. So with that being said, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We'll jump right to it. 5 months ago, we did a story on a star LSU wide receiver who went by the name of Kyron Lacy. Of course, I'll leave the link in the bio. But in that video, we disclose on the public information on how he allegedly lost his life while on the highway. Now, we'll briefly get confirmation on what truly took place and why from his attorney in this video. We also disclose how he transferred to LSU, his upbringing, and what was the charges to his case. Now, since Lacy had lost his life, may he rest in peace, his attorney and his staff still been working day and night to fight to clear his name and for justice. Now, since his demise, a lot of things has come to light. Like the alleged perpetrator, she's been identified, her statement to authorities, and a local officer who seemed to have coerced this young lady and a witness into making these statements. Now, we'll later disclose their identity, but one of the biggest takeaways that I want us to get from this video is the district attorney's office investigation. Besides the body cam footage, this information allowed Lacy's attorney to compare and contrast during his interview with the local authorities' investigation. Now, to get us all caught up, Lacy was under investigation in Louisiana in connection with the crash in December of 2024 that left a 78-year-old man identified as Herman Hall, a veteran, also a passenger in the crash, had lost his life. May he rest in peace. Officials said in January, Lacy was accused of driving recklessly, speeding and passing a no-passing zone when the motorist swerved to avoid Lacy and crashed into another vehicle. But in a recent interview with HTV10, Lacy's attorney, Matthew, provided video that appears to show Lacy's vehicle well behind the crash and that he was more than 200 feet away from the cars upon impact.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome to Bayou Time. I'm Martin False. And if you recall, months ago, I had attorney Matt Ory on our program to talk about Kyron Lacey's involvement or non-involvement in a wreck that took place, which took the life of a very popular man, Mr. Hall. And it was well documented, went national. It was talked about, it was written about, it was blogged about, it was all over the nation. So I did tell Mr. Ori back then, and I also tell everyone involved in this, whether you're an attorney or whether you're part of the investigation, you're always welcome to tell your story on HTV. So I told Mr. Ori, if you have anything to add to the story at any point, please give me a holler and we'll get you on. So joining me now is Matt Ori, attorney, and good to see you, Matt. Thank you for coming.
Good to see you, Martin. Thank you for having me.
Did you compile anything new?
I've got everything. I've got every piece of evidence I have viewed. I've examined every piece of evidence, which includes all surveillance, all body cam footage, and most importantly, the investigative report that was generated and manufactured by the Lafourche Parish District Attorney's Office, according to the data that they obtained.
In that report, which is independent of you, when I was going through it and looking at some of these things in it, I think you'll probably go over where they were, because I see you brought a board where you're going to depict where all of them were during the incident, and you have all that information to sort of explain where everyone was at, how fast they were going, what they were doing, all of that.
I do. I've got it all here.
Okay. Is most of this reports, or do you have actual video?
At the entirety of the district attorney's findings, their findings after their own investigation. That's what we're here today to present. We're going to compare and contrast.
That cop in jail. You done did it now. Yeah, look, tampering with evidence. Oh, yeah, they gonna have a field day with you in Angola. Yeah, and trust me, they like the one that stink, not the one that wink either. Yeah, they don't play good, them cops and shit. Hey, he crossed the line, boss. Angola, that's where they still were, got the troopers on the horse and got them inmates out there farming and shit. You know what I'm talking about? Let's go.
Those findings with the findings of state police, because there's a ton of confusion. People seem to believe that somehow he hit someone in this accident, or possibly even shot through two cars and there was this explosion behind him. I've heard every version possible, but we can show you the version right now.
Okay. Sort of describe the video for our audience, what you've seen in the video.
Yeah, so what you'll see is in the top left of the screen, you're going to see multiple cars just making their way south to Thibodaux, coming from Vacherie. At some point in time, you're going to see the collision, which we're going to know is vehicle number 2 from oncoming traffic colliding with the vehicle of Mr. Hall. You will see another vehicle come to a stop, and then you'll see Kyron Lacey come to a stop.
So as we've seen the video, it looks like the impact happens, and then Kyron Lacey is behind him. How far away was he from there?
Well, yeah, that's the beauty of the investigative report that I now have my hands on. We know from data that Kyron Lacey did in fact pass 4 cars. There's no disputing that. Further north, Kyron Lacey passed 4 cars. However, he was back in his lane of travel, 92.3 yards. Back in his lane, behind Mr. Hall. At the time of impact, he's 72.6 yards behind the vehicles at the time of impact. Keyword, behind the vehicles. That is not how this story was ever painted. Never.
Any part of the...
That's crazy, bro. And the cool thing about it is, this lawyer right here is fighting for him while he didn't carry on to the next life. You don't get too many lawyers like that, bro. And clearly he see that it was an injustice. And it looks like they gonna pursue this, man. This ain't nothing to play with. How would y'all feel if somebody, accuse your son of some shit, try to cover it up, and it turn out that a cop and a female then manufacture, statements and all that crazy shit? Let's go.
District attorney's investigation that talked about Mr. Lacey getting back, I guess we call it, what do you call it, correcting or getting in your proper lane?
Sure, he was back in his proper lane according to their data. This isn't my expert. This is the investigation of the Lafourche Parish District Attorney's Office. So I'm here simply comparing and contrasting the District Attorney's Office with state police in this matter, their investigations. And in that investigation, it shows that he was back in his correct lane of travel, 92.3 yards. Before this incident occurred, he was back in his lane.
What is the legal law state about where you should be behind? Or I want to say I thought it was 100 feet. Is that correct?
It is correct. Take out the fact here that it's a no passing zone. If it weren't at this time, it's 100 feet. What we know now is he was 3 times legally what he needed to be back in his lane of traffic.
Where was everybody involved in this? And I see you brought something that you could visibly show everybody.
Yeah, I mean, like I stated, if we're looking at this, and of course this isn't to scale, and I can't draw, but what you see here is vehicle 3. That is Mr. Hall's vehicle. This is another vehicle between Mr. Lacey and Mr. Hall.
Okay.
This is the gold truck that's referenced in the report. This is heading north. So this is the lead vehicle heading north. And the vehicle that actually collided with Mr. Hall's vehicle, that would be vehicle 2. All right. So through the course of this, now we start investigating and dissecting everything we possibly can. When we do that, we start with vehicle 2, right? So what do I know now about vehicle 2? Vehicle 2 was tailgating, all right? According to the data, again, of the district attorney's office, not me, according to their data, tailgating at 49.6 miles an hour, 0.5 seconds behind the gold truck, 1.5 seconds before the crash. So again, if that did make sense, she is following 0.5 seconds behind this vehicle, 0.5 seconds behind that vehicle, 1.5 seconds before the crash at over 49 miles an hour. 0.5.
Can you elaborate on that?
Sure. So now what we're looking at, this isn't speculation. Through this, we hear there's story after story. Actually, vehicle 2's story got bigger and bigger and bigger until we now have their data, right? So when we get our hands on it, I'm looking at the data from that particular vehicle. That data in that vehicle shows me 5 seconds previous to this crash. 5. I'm looking at it, and you're going to show it. 5 seconds previous to this crash, she maintained a speed of 49.6 miles an hour, never activating the EBS system until 0.5 seconds before the crash. Why is that important? Because if your story, which we'll get into, keeps getting bigger and bigger, and you had all this time to see the gold truck, in her words, stomp on their brakes, slam on their brakes, come to a stop, veer off the road. I see another vehicle approaching. I see the Charger approaching. Well, my question to you now becomes, how did you see that vehicle approaching or him stop or him slam on his brakes, yet your data says you never touched your brake prior to 0.5 seconds before that crash? I'm looking right now. So are you at the last 5 seconds, according to her. Her car's black box, not mine, not my expert. That's her car. So if you're going to tell me a 5 to 10 second elaborate story, it needs to make sense. And when you have the data, not only doesn't it add up, it's not possible. Notice on there, Martin, it says 75 degrees, right? You turn 75.
Now, this brother got some soul in him, right? This boy got some soul in him. All right, yeah, see, this is why I say analysts, people who can see paperwork, all that shit don't mean nothing. But when you can analyze some stuff, you can paint a vivid image just by reading off of data. And a lot of people just got that naturally, and some people don't got it, so they won't understand. But yeah, boy, that's all right. This man right here got some soul. Let's go.
5 degrees to the left all of a sudden. That's what happens when you tailgate. Now, interestingly enough, this vehicle was actually, when this woman was in the ambulance, they issued her a ticket. All right. You know for what? Take a wild guess. Following too close. Data from the district attorney's office tells me you're traveling 0.5 seconds at 49.6 miles an hour, 1.5 seconds before the accident. That's not tailgating? That's not following too close? Of course it is. Ticket was taken away.
I'm looking at the data and I'm learning some new things here. So the 75, the steering input at 75 to the left.
That's correct.
Any indicate that, I would guess 75 on a scale of 100, that's a pretty hard turn to the left.
It's a very hard turn to the left. The gold truck, the lead vehicle in oncoming traffic, who, by the way, is probably one of the two most important witnesses in this entire case. We know now that 2.99 seconds prior to him pulling off the road, he was traveling 28 miles an hour. 28 miles an hour. Now, you're going to hear his statement in a little while, and it's going to all make sense. But let's be very clear right now for the intent and purposes of what we're doing. There are two vehicles that we're talking about right now that are traveling north. The second vehicle in oncoming traffic, which is vehicle 2, their data says she is tailgating. She is 0.5 seconds at 49.6 miles an hour, 1.5 seconds before the crash. And you saw her data, 50.3 to 49.6.
Yeah, so she stayed at 49.6 until 0.5 seconds, and then
there's a variation of less than a mile per hour.
Yeah.
It's 0.7, I believe.
Right. Did she give any police report or anything?
Oh, absolutely. So
let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, we will. This particular individual, and for purposes of this report, I'd like you, Morton, this is page 9. If you could follow along to make sure I'm not misquoting a single thing.
All right.
All right. I'm looking at the investigative report of the district attorney's office.
Mhm.
And then here you can see this is their investigator looking at vehicle 2 statements, and now he's analyzing.
Hitting your goals has nothing to do with discipline. The real culprit is friction, and it slowly erodes your progress. Unlike what most...
He says, upon reviewing the body cam video of the trooper from the scene, the following statement was made by, we'll call her vehicle 2, right? Mm-hmm. I just know the truck was stomping on brakes. The other was trying to pass the other car. I was trying to dodge by not hitting him, by coming around. When the trooper asked how fast she was going, she replied the speed limit. He next says, I reviewed the recorded interview and the written statement from vehicle 2 while she was in the hospital on January 3rd, 2025. Below is a synopsis of that interview. And at very first it says, all I can see is that a car is coming this way and the car in front of me. Right before the crash, I'm looking at the pickup truck in front of me. That's all they see for the moment. I'm eating my Funyuns. I got in the middle of my lap and I'm driving. I'm listening to my music. All of a sudden, I see the car get in the other person's lane. The truck, in quotes, steps on his brakes. First, so it slows down, but then he does it again, and this time it's really hard. That's when you can see on the other side, the car is trying to get back over. But before he can get over, the truck stops in the middle, like on the brakes, hard. There's another car that runs damn near into the pole. It's either I run into him or I try to get out the way, so I'm trying to get into the dollar store parking lot. Then the other car just comes and slams into me. The trooper asked vehicle 2, whenever you're looking forward, or the cars in front of you, they swerve off to the right before you make your left, or are you looking at a green Charger coming at you? Or, in end of quotes. Vehicle 2 responded with, the green Charger came, and then the car behind me, behind them, the truck, the van, whatever. The trooper does not ask any further follow-up questions to get a better understanding of what she was saying for this answer. Now remember, I'm reading what the investigator's saying. When vehicle 2 states the truck stops in the middle of the road like on the brakes hard, this statement indicates that the gold truck stopped in the middle of the lane and not, in quotes, swerving off to the right. This would also show that vehicle 2 would have steered to the left to avoid contact with the gold truck and not Kyron Lacey. During this interview with the trooper, vehicle 2 made several statements that do not match the submitted report or written statement. Instead of questioning vehicle 2 for more details, the trooper attempted to recap what she was saying, which seems to contradict her statements. While doing this, the trooper is the first to talk about the gold truck swerving off to the right. Then when it came to obtaining the written statement, the trooper tells vehicle 2 what to document on the statement as she is writing.
I have two questions here. One, I'd like to know more about the statement that she made to the trooper. The other one would be, do we have any data on the gold truck?
2.99 seconds before the gold truck eases off to the road, eases off of the road.
Right.
He's traveling at 28 miles an hour.
Right.
That all is in this report.
Yeah, that's my question.
You watch someone slam on their brakes. You watch them stop. You watch the car chart coming at you in your lane of traffic, but you never thought to just tap the brakes? Really? Data is accurate. The black box is accurate that says that you never touched your brakes. You never touch your brakes in the last 5 seconds until 0.5 seconds before the impact.
As the attorney said, that's never how the story was painted, but it get deeper. It disclosed more information, like the body cam footage from the officer receiving a statement from the man who allegedly stumped his brakes, and the statement from driver number 2, the woman who said that because Lacey was coming in the opposite direction to avoid hitting him, she had to swerve, which caused the crash. But according to the district attorney findings, that wasn't the case. Now, before I let you hear what the district attorney findings was and what the attorney had to say alongside the body cam footage, let's identify who allegedly is driver number 2 and who allegedly the officer was who received the statement. Now, driver 2 was allegedly Brianna Imani Gray. And according to public records from taxpaying citizens, the officer is allegedly Tyler Warner. Since being identified on social media, they disabled their accounts. But it wasn't before some people was able to get some screenshots. And let's just say out the gate, from the outside looking in, it seemed they allegedly been living a life since that accident with no care in the world. Now, as you look at this next clip, notice in the body cam footage, an officer is talking to a man in the truck who claimed that the driver of vehicle 2 caused the crash, despite police telling the man to write down specifics regarding Lacey in his statement, which was ultimately refused.
That's their data. It's not mine.
Proceed. What did you find out after that?
So what I was curious about here, most importantly to me, in terms of the oncoming traffic, right? So I'm looking at that gold truck. I want to know what they said, when they said it, what were the circumstances, how did this come about? And this is where it really starts tying together, right? The gold truck, they end up getting a statement from this individual. There's 2 of them. The very first one, what I noticed on the body cam was that the conversation was going on for 4 minutes and approximately 30 seconds prior to the body cam being activated. And of course, when the body cam's activated, I don't know what you said those previous 4.5 minutes, they end up at this individual's house to obtain a statement. I want to play right now how that statement started.
Okay.
Creators, stop paying for tools that don't really work for you. With Base 44, you can build your own the way you actually.
Let's roll that in.
All right, sir. So, look, don't worry about filling any of this top information, like your name, address. Don't worry about any of that. Just right here, if you could, I'll just have you write exactly what you saw. Just make sure to include, where you were.
I don't even know what the name of that highway is.
It's Highway 20. Highway 20. That you just.
All right, maybe my wife gonna figure out right quick.
Okay, just make sure you add in there that you had to slam on your brakes and the brakes you had to slam on the brakes to avoid that charger and the brakes locked up to avoid that charger. That's.
I ain't scared my car nothing. I wasn't even going, man. That lady in the back of me, she didn't saw what was happening. That's how she called that wreck. She was running in the back of me. She pulled on the other side.
Mm-hmm. So, but the charger was coming right at you, correct? Right. And that's why you had to slam on your brake, head on with you. So yeah, just make sure you include that, and that's very important because we're trying to locate this charger right now. So just include that in the statement, and I'll read it over, and then I'll be out of here.
In that video, you can clearly hear the suggestive nature indicating that I need you to say that you had to slam on your brakes and you had to avoid a charger.
Okay, just make sure you add in there that you had to slam on your brakes and the brakes you had to slam on the brakes to avoid that charger and the brakes locked up to avoid that charger. That's.
But then you hear Gold Truck, the witness, who's the Gold Truck, what he says. And he says verbatim.
I ain't scared my car nothing. I wasn't even going, man. That lady in the back of me, She didn't saw what was happening. That's how she called that record. She was running in the back of me. She pulled on the other side.
Mhm.
Not in it.
I didn't skid marked or nothing because I wasn't even going that fast. That lady in the back of me, she didn't see what's happening. That's how she caused that wreck. She was going to run into the back of me, and she pulled into the other side. But there's a bigger problem. I then obtained the actual written statement.
If you had to choose between flipping a house or flipping dirt, what would you pick? Here's the truth. Land beats houses.
And this is from the gold truck.
This is the gold truck. Now, after the statement we just went through, notice I've obviously redacted names, addresses, and the cell phone number in fairness to the individual who is gold truck number one in oncoming traffic. See, the problem with that statement is it is in direct contravention to what was said minutes earlier. It's not written by him. And where it says signed, it's not signed. It's refused. But you see, when I have a witness who is the most critical, and he's telling you, I wasn't traveling fast. We know now that he wasn't. The data shows 2.99 seconds before that he was traveling 28 miles an hour. The data shows that. Now he corroborates that. And he goes on to say, I didn't even make a skid mark. That woman behind me, she caused that accident. And you give me this statement that is refused? I got a problem. I got a problem with that, a big one. What he's saying is she had to avoid hitting him. He specifically stated she caused that accident, but I've got an affidavit for arrest warrant right here. Nowhere in here does it say anything that you guys just saw on body cam. To the contrary, about that vehicle, it says the gold truck took evasive action by emergency braking and driving off the roadway to avoid a head-on crash.
Wow, that's nasty work. All right, we're going to leave it right there. Y'all drop y'all opinions in the comment section, man. I'll see y'all on the next video. Let's get it. Let's go.